he's not very intelligent and undoubtedly remains damaged by the early death of his mother, Diana. And he very foolishly blames the media for her, in his words, which is complete nonsense. But I think he loved the adulation. He loved it when he was being praised, especially when he was a soldier. But then he became criticized, firstly because he became drunk in public.
Tom, do you think Harry and Meghan are fast learning what they signed away when they took this Netflix big moolah? And I would say they signed away their credibility and their dignity.
Well, that's our view, but it's not theirs. They need the money, and they need it now more than ever because they've got no other source of income. So I think they're just stuck with the devil now. They're tied to Netflix, they're tied to their book, and all the criticism they're going to take means nothing because that's the only way they can earn their money.
No, I choose people who don't want to be written about on the whole, whose lives are shrouded in mystery, and they want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know.
Had you hoped your children, Archie and Lilibet, would have had that you think they won't be able to now with this decision?
Well, for a start, the only time that I've come back to the UK is sadly for funerals or court cases.
Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, is marking her daughter Lilibet's 4th birthday by sharing some personal photographs. A rare sighting of a little girl seen in this picture with her father, Prince Harry, and now her mom. The child's face is partially covered as the royal couple is known to fiercely guard the privacy of their 2 children. On Instagram, Meghan wrote, "Happy birthday to our beautiful girl. 4 years ago today, she came into our lives, and the day is brighter and better because of it."
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle believed they could shield their children from the spotlight. But now, their biggest secret may be the very thing tearing everything apart. With Tom Bower dropping explosive claims about Archie and Lilibet, questions of bloodline and legitimacy are spiraling out of control. From palace silence to demands for DNA tests, the drama is reaching a boiling point. Stay tuned until the end, because this is one royal scandal you won't want to miss.
Well, of course, that has always been her motive. She is money obsessed and always has been. And that is why she married Prince Harry. Her great surprise and disappointment was to discover that Prince Harry had very little money. She imagined he'd be worth hundreds of millions, if not billions. And she's having to make up for it now.
I can't see a world in which I would be bringing my wife and children back to the UK at this point. And the things that they're going to miss is, well, everything. You know, I love my country. I always have done, despite what some people in that country have done. So, you know, I miss the UK. I miss parts of the UK. Of course I do.
That the conversation, I'm told and I believe, was very early on in their relationship when Harry is bowled over by Meghan, is desperately in love, and already is talking about marriage. But long before their engagement is even announced, let alone they're married and she's pregnant. And he's sitting in Clarence's house with then Prince Charles and Camilla. And Camilla just laughingly says, well, any child you'll have will probably have brown skin and ginger hair.
The Queen and the Duke.
Yes, and we just bumped into the Duke as we were walking by, which was so nice. So it'll be a nice moment to introduce the baby to more family, and my mom's with us as well. So it's been a really, here we go.
Another great grandchild.
Harry and Meghan are back in the spotlight, and this time the drama isn't about palace feuds, Netflix deals, or leaked books. It's about their children. Author Tom Bower has dropped what may be his biggest bombshell yet, questioning whether Archie and Lilibet are truly their biological kids. And let's be honest, this isn't just random gossip spreading on Twitter. These claims are backed by years of research, patterns, and inconsistencies that have long raised suspicion. Now, the couple who once swore to protect their children at all costs are watching those very children become the center of their biggest crisis yet.
And that's why I think, I think Tina is a great journalist, and perhaps she has inside information. I don't see how the Sussexes can give up both the Netflix and the book deal. They won't be living in a Montecito cottage. They're more likely living somewhere in downtown LA, in a little hovel. That's their problem. They're stuck now. But, you know, the truth is about them. Then he wore a Nazi uniform at a party. Then he was wearing absolutely nothing in the nude at the party in Las Vegas. And he couldn't cope with the criticism because in his view, he is a target. And it didn't help that his telephones were hacked by News International Rupert Murdoch's group here in London.
Think about it. This isn't about royal rules or family squabbles anymore. The question people are asking is simple but brutal. Who are Archie and Lilibet really? For any normal family, that question would sound offensive. But for Harry and Meghan, where every move feels curated, branded, and sold for public consumption, the suspicion cuts far deeper. Tom Bower's claim is that surrogacy wasn't just a private medical choice, but a hidden secret, possibly masking an even bigger truth. And if there's one thing we know about the royals, it's that legitimacy and bloodline aren't just personal matters. They are everything. If this turns out to be true, it's not just a scandal. It's a direct blow to the monarchy itself. And then, there's Harry. The fun, cheeky prince the world once adored has now become tabloid fodder. He's being mocked in memes, portrayed as either naive or complicit. Reports out of Montecito paint a chaotic picture. Harry pacing through rooms, snapping at staff, glued to headlines, spiraling under the weight of endless whispers. The irony is painful. The same man who championed mental health awareness is now struggling to hold on to his own peace of mind. And honestly, it's sad to watch. Meghan, on the other hand, seems to be handling the storm in her own way. No emotional outbursts, just lawyers on speed dial, cease and desist letters, and quiet legal threats. But here's the kicker. The more she tries to silence the story, the louder it becomes. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire. People are digging deeper, asking sharper questions, and connecting red flags that suddenly make sense when placed side by side. Remember those oddly staged pregnancy photos? The fuzzy timelines that never seem to add up? The absence of hospital pictures or normal birth announcements? Everything about their family image always felt just a little too polished. And when things look staged, people start wondering what's being hidden. Critics argue that Harry and Meghan had every opportunity to clear the air years ago. Instead, they doubled down on secrecy. Now, that secrecy is backfiring in the worst way. What was once a carefully crafted escape from the royal machine is beginning to crumble under suspicion. And whether you believe Tom Bower's claims or not, one fact is undeniable. Harry and Meghan's silence isn't protecting them. If anything, it's shouting louder than any statement they could ever make.
No, I choose people who don't want to be written about, on the whole, whose lives are shrouded in mystery, and they want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know. I wrote 4 years ago a book about Prince Charles, and it was a story about how he had rehabilitated himself after Diana's death, and how Camilla also had to be rehabilitated, and it was a #1. It was a fascinating story. So when Meghan came along into the scene, I just thought, this is fascinating. How is this going to play out? To tell the truth, I spoke to very few friends of Meghan because she put a fatwa on anyone talking to me who she could. So I sent off dozens and dozens of emails to her friends, and most of them didn't even reply. And obviously I spoke to her father, who loves her still very much, and said, in the end, whatever she is, she's still my daughter. You can't beat the real story. I mean, that's the excitement of writing these sort of books, that in the end, nothing beats the truth, the real fact.
And then we get to one of the biggest red flags, Archie and Lilibet's distance from the rest of the royal family. Think about it. William and Kate's children are constantly photographed with Charles, Camilla, and even the late Queen. There are countless family moments on record, but when it comes to Harry and Meghan's children, there's almost nothing. No warm family photos with senior royals, no bonding shots that usually come with being part of the firm. People are now asking whether this is just coincidence, or if the palace has deliberately kept its distance. And honestly, the lack of interaction speaks volumes. This isn't just harmless speculation. It carries serious implications. If surrogacy was used, that's one thing. It's a private choice many families make. But if outside donors were involved, meaning the biological ties aren't what Harry and Meghan claim, then that's a royal earthquake waiting to erupt. We're talking about the very line of succession, something the monarchy cannot afford to leave vague or questionable. The crown depends on stability and bloodline. If that foundation shakes, it's not just Harry and Meghan who fall. It could ripple through the entire institution. And let's not forget who's leading this storm, Tom Bower. He isn't some random gossip columnist chasing clicks. He has a track record of unearthing uncomfortable royal truths, and disturbingly, many of his past claims turned out to be right. So when he throws out something this bold, people pay attention. He's lit a match under what could be the most explosive royal secret yet. If this story gains traction, it won't just damage Harry and Meghan's public image. It could erase their place in royal history altogether.
Well, that's our view, but it's not theirs. They need the money, and they need it now more than ever because they've got no other source of income. So I think they're just stuck with the devil now. They're tied to Netflix, they're tied to their book, and all the criticism they're going to take means nothing because that's the only way they can earn their money.
But here's the part that makes it worse. The silence. Through all this chaos, Harry and Meghan haven't said a single word. No statement, no denial, not even the faintest attempt to clear things up with something concrete like a DNA test. Just silence. And silence doesn't calm a storm, it fuels it. It makes people wonder, if there's nothing to hide, why not prove it? Every day they stay quiet, the suspicion grows louder. Now the calls for DNA testing are deafening. What once began as quiet whispers on obscure forums has exploded into trending hashtags, primetime news debates, and panel shows dissecting every photo and timeline. Social media is flooded with people saying the same thing. If Meghan and Harry are telling the truth, why not just take the test and shut it all down? Their refusal is only giving oxygen to the fire. From a PR perspective, this is a nightmare. Remember, the Sussex brand was built on the image of the perfect modern family. The Montecito mansion, the polished Netflix documentary series, the speeches about love, healing, and breaking cycles of pain. It was carefully curated to present a picture of stability and authenticity. But now that picture is cracking, and these aren't surface cracks. These are deep structural fractures that no staged photos or glossy interviews can plaster over. And for Harry, the sting cuts deeper than for anyone else. This isn't just another scandal. It's personal in a way nothing else has ever been. Fatherhood was always his redemption arc, his why, the anchor behind every decision he made after leaving royal life.
What this was likely based on and how it doesn't match up to what Meghan said. Here's the clip, Sot 6, from the Oprah interview.
From the Oprah interview to their Netflix docuseries, Harry has repeated again and again that becoming a father saved him, grounded him, and gave him purpose. But now, critics are striking him where it hurts most. What if the children he's built his entire story around aren't even biologically his? That's not the kind of question that simply bruises an image. It shatters an identity.
Well, of course, that was brilliant of you to bring that clip up because the body language just showed her discomfort as she dug deeper into her own hole. I mean, the truth is this, that there are two truths. The first truth is that the conversation, I'm told and I believe, was very early on in their relationship when Harry is bowled over by Meghan, is desperately in love, and already is talking about marriage.
It's a brutal blow not just to Harry's public image, but to his very identity. Remember, this is the man who once walked behind Diana's coffin, forever etched in history as a symbol of strength and resilience. And now he's being painted in two unflattering lights. Either he's a naive puppet, pulled along by Meghan's strategy, or he's an active participant in what critics are calling a royal-level cover-up. Neither version works in his favor. One makes him look pitiful and weak. The other paints him as dishonest, manipulative, and complicit. And worst of all, both leave him appearing powerless. A man who doesn't even have control over the narrative of his own family.
How would your mom feel about your relationship with your brother now?
I think she would be sad. I think she'd be looking at it long term to know that there are certain things that we need to go through to be able to heal the relationship. I have felt the presence of my mum more so in the last 2 years than I have in the last 30.
Insiders from Montecito describe the atmosphere inside their mansion as grim and tense. Harry has reportedly become consumed, almost to the point of paranoia. He's glued to articles, gossip columns, even YouTube videos dissecting every frame of his children's photos, every timeline from Meghan's pregnancies, every allegation Tom Bower has put forward. Friends say he's restless, pacing rooms, lashing out at staff, ranting about conspiracies, and barely sleeping at night. The anxiety is practically written all over him. And here's the irony critics keep pointing out. Harry was supposed to be the champion of mental health, the man who branded himself as the therapy prince. Yet now, he appears trapped in his own spiral, unable to practice the very advice he once preached.
For the time being, it's impossible for me to take my family back to the UK safely.
You're obviously very deeply affected by this. What memories, experiences had you hoped your children, Archie and Lilibet, would have had that you think they won't be able to now with this decision?
Meanwhile, Meghan is handling the storm very differently. Cold, calculated, and strategic. She's reportedly exploring every legal angle, drafting cease and desist letters, threatening media outlets, and trying to choke the story into silence. But here's the catch. Every time a legal threat goes out, it only makes people more suspicious. The louder she tries to shut it down, the more the public thinks, if there's nothing to hide, why go to such extreme lengths? Instead of quelling the rumors, her legal strategy is backfiring, pouring gasoline on an already raging fire. And then we have the palace. Their silence has been chilling. No statements from King Charles. No warm public photos of Archie and Lilibet with their grandfather or any senior royals. Not even the standard birthday greetings that are usually routine for royal children. Compare that to William and Kate's kids, who are publicly embraced by the family every chance they get. It's night and day. The difference is so stark that observers are now asking, does the royal family already know something? Or worse, had they quietly suspected the truth all along?
Thank you.
Breakfast time, go! Sitting for the cameras, aren't you? For the cameras.
A new theory making the rounds suggests that this distance isn't punishment at all, it's protection. By keeping Harry and Meghan's children at arm's length, the monarchy may have been insulating itself from a scandal they feared could one day erupt. And now, with Bauer dragging everything into the spotlight, the palace might just be waiting for Harry and Meghan to either come clean or crack under the pressure. If that's the case, this isn't a tabloid story anymore. It's a full-blown royal reckoning. Because if the monarchy itself has doubts about Archie and Lilibet's legitimacy, then this isn't conspiracy, it's crisis.
What about the security arrangements that were in place made you feel it would be unsafe for you and your family?
There's only so much that I can say because of the redaction process and the national security matters at hand, but everything. Because in beginning of 2020, I was scored the highest as far as risk was concerned, and then overnight I was reduced to the lowest without actually going through the risk management board.
The pressure has gone far beyond curiosity. It's full-blown suspicion now, and it's not just the tabloids stirring the pot anymore. Mainstream outlets, respected journalists, and even loyal royal supporters are openly asking the same question. Will Harry and Meghan agree to a DNA test? The fact that it's come to this almost sounds absurd. But when every other chance at transparency has been stonewalled, people are asking, what else is left? And that's the most damaging part. Harry and Meghan had countless opportunities to shut this down early. They could have released medical records, cleared up the fuzzy timelines, or explained away the strange inconsistencies in photos. But instead, they doubled down on silence. Or worse, vague answers wrapped in legal threats. And now that silence isn't protecting them, it's destroying them. In the court of public opinion, silence doesn't read as dignity anymore. It reads as guilt.
And that's why I think, I think Tina is a great journalist, and perhaps she has inside information. I don't see how the Sussexes can give up both the Netflix and the book deal. They won't be living in a Montecito cottage, be more likely living somewhere in downtown LA.
The saddest part in all of this is that the damage may already be permanent. Harry, once celebrated as the bold and rebellious prince, now appears like a man unraveling before the world's eyes. Friends from his military days, men who once admired his courage, have quietly distanced themselves. Sources close to him describe him as unpredictable, swinging between angry outbursts and chilling silences. Those around him whisper that he has lost his identity, not just as a royal, but as a man. And fatherhood, the one role he clung to as his redemption arc, is now under question. That's devastating. Because if even his role as a father is doubted, then what foundation does he have left?
And already is talking about marriage, but long before their engagement is even announced, let alone they're married and she's pregnant. And he's sitting in Clarence House with then Prince Charles and Camilla. And Camilla just laughingly says, well, any child you'll have will probably have brown skin and ginger hair. And they all laugh, including Harry. I mean, it's not because of racism, it's just one of those things everybody imagines. When somebody is pregnant close to you, you wonder what the child will look like. But it was not said as anything other than as
Like a
you know.
concern. That's what Meghan's
No,
claimed,
not
that
a
it was
concern,
as
it was
a
just a
concern about how
passing.
dark the baby would be.
Meghan, on the other hand, hasn't cracked emotionally the way Harry has. Instead, she's sticking to her usual playbook: deflection and control. Reports say her lawyers are drafting responses non-stop, firing off threats of lawsuits if media outlets don't pull down stories. But here's the problem. Legal letters don't solve moral scandals. If anything, they make critics more certain of their suspicions. And the public isn't blind. People remember the Netflix documentaries filmed to perfection, the carefully staged Instagram posts, the polished speeches about honesty, healing, and breaking generational trauma. So when this same couple now refuses to be transparent about something as fundamental as their children's origins, the hypocrisy is glaring. It leaves people feeling like they've been sold an image instead of the truth. And through all this chaos, the royal family has stayed completely silent. Not a single senior royal has come forward to defend Harry and Meghan. No official statements, no subtle shows of support, nothing. It's as if the institution has quietly stepped back, leaving them to face the storm alone. According to insiders, Charles has been advised to keep his distance, because even a small show of support could explode into a bigger scandal if these rumors ever prove true. That silence speaks volumes, and not in the way the Sussexes would want. Behind the scenes, whispers are growing louder about contingency plans. Private discussions about succession, legal implications, and political fallout are reportedly underway. The palace is quietly asking the hard questions. If Archie and Lilibet were born in a way that doesn't fit royal tradition, what does that mean for their titles? What does it mean for their place in the line of succession? Would they be removed? Nobody knows, and the palace isn't offering answers. But the fact that these conversations are happening at all shows just how serious this crisis has become.
Meghan, can you tell us what it's like becoming a new mum and tell us a little bit about baby Sussex, as we're calling him?
It's magic. It's pretty amazing, and I mean, I have the two best guys in the world, so I'm really happy.
Tell us a little bit about your son. What's he like? Is he sleeping well? Good baby?
Yes, he has the sweetest temperament. He's really calm.
What's clear now is that the Sussex fairy tale is falling apart. The story of a brave prince and his modern duchess building a fresh start outside palace walls is crumbling under the weight of secrecy. And the more they dodge the truth, the heavier that weight becomes. In the end, it may all come down to one defining choice: agree to a DNA test or not. One path could finally silence critics and give them a chance to reclaim some credibility. The other guarantees that suspicion will follow them forever. Because questions about bloodlines don't just disappear. They linger, they grow, and eventually, they shape how history remembers you. Harry and Meghan gambled everything on a narrative of freedom and honesty. But now that narrative is being torn apart by silence, suspicion, and one question that refuses to go away. Who are Archie and Lilibet really? So here we are, the Sussex fairy tale cracking under the pressure of secrecy. Is Harry a victim caught in Meghan's web, or a co-conspirator in a cover-up that could alter royal history? And most importantly, who really are Archie and Lilibet? These questions won't fade. They'll haunt the monarchy forever unless the truth comes out. What do you think? DNA test or silence? Drop your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more royal revelations.